All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to 1 Million Cups Fairfax chapter. We are excited to have you here today in our hybrid meeting. We have a few friends who are joining us for the first time, both online and in person. Welcome, everybody. It's great having you here. Next slide. You can just press the space bar.
Space bar?
Let's try that.
Hold on.
Or the arrows.
That's what I'm pushing. And
Yeah, it's not working.
Hmm.
Bear with me. Here. There we go.
1 Million Cups is sponsored by the Kaufman Foundation, or it's part of the Kaufman Foundation. We work with communities to help entrepreneurs educate and increase their opportunities to allow all people to learn. And we help them with their business challenges. And as a community, we help them solve them. Next slide, please. We are a national and we also have a local mission. Our local chapters helps our community with one-on-one interactions in a group setting. We are doing presentations, no pitches. We are looking for authentic connections, not networking. And we run for the community, by the community, and we are radically and intentionally inclusive. We'd like to welcome again all our visitors. We're going to do a short, semi-formal introduction. We'll start with our folks in the room, and then we'll move on to our new visitors online. If you can please come over, because unfortunately we're having a little bit of a trouble with our microphone to project that far. Please tell us your name, your company name, and how you heard about us.
I don't know if I can come up over here.
Yes, please.
Okay.
We can just.
Yes, no, of course. Hi, I'm Harlan. I am actually a director of recruitment over at Northwestern Mutual. Just wanted to come in, meet some new faces and just share some insights and hear some from everyone else.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Great having you.
Thank you.
With the younger,
Our intern.
your interns, would you like, please? Interns are also coming up. It's a great opportunity for you to get used to presentations, networking, or getting to know other fellow.
Right.
Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Devin. I'm a summer staff intern at Northwestern Mutual, and I'm excited to learn and meet new people here.
Welcome, Devin.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Tanya. I'm a financial rep intern at Northwestern Mutual, and I'm excited to meet you all too.
Well, welcome. Yeah, welcome.
All right, who's in the room? Michelle. I think I haven't seen you before. You're muted.
Hello, yes, this is my first time, so thank you for having me. My name is Michelle Joseph. I am the owner of Michelle Joseph Creative Solutions and Nance Thorpe LLC. And I heard about you through, I was introduced to Million Cups in Manassas, but this is easier for me to come to because I have a client meeting at 10 o'clock. So this works out great for me to come virtually.
Good.
Great, welcome.
Thank you.
I think that's it in the room. We can move on to the next slide, please. Part of the work that we do is helping our community. It helps us to have as many participants as we can. Please scan the QR code and sign in. It helps us know how many people we're having in our room. and helps the numbers with the big guys. Can move on. So 1 Million Cups Fairfax doesn't happen by chance. We are a group of organizers, entrepreneurs that volunteer our time to help our community. We also have brand ambassadors and sponsors of Veterans Growing America and the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. We have two sponsors. We have our location sponsor and our coffee sponsor. And John is going to tell us a little bit more about both.
Thank you, Maria. So Mason Enterprise Center allows us to come to their space and use it for free. That's amazing. And MEC is incredible because not only is it a place where you can hang your hat if you need office space or just need your phones or mail covered, they have a mentor program. So you can learn and grow at the same time as you get office space. Flipping over to 48 Blocks Fine Candy, Amy Hughes, who's one of our organizers, makes specialized boutique small batch marshmallows. So how can you go wrong with that? When you need a gift, whether it's a holiday season or appreciation, think of Amy Hughes in 48 Blocks Fine Candy. She really has special treats for the people you care about. So how's that for the coffee and space sponsorship?
The best ever.
Woo!
Woo!
Yes, Tammy, I agree.
There we go. So our meeting will take place soon with our presenter. We're gonna ask you to please mute your phones, not like I did. And please stay muted. And please wait for all your questions at the end. We will be taking care of it during our after our presentation. Next slide, please. So our presenter today is Pete Odell with Perdata. He's going to be presenting his business challenge, which he will tell us a little bit more coming up. Come on, Pete.
All right, thank you. Welcome, Pete. Right here? Yes. Okay. Hey, I'm Pete Odell. I'm the CEO of Perdata Inc. And our website is Perdata.AI. Our product is called Connexus. So it's Connexus from Perdata.AI. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. We're a new company and we're all community focused. And I'm going to talk about both the engagement that we hope to have around the community and get your advice on how to increase that. Next slide. So a little bit about us, and I may go a little bit out of order with the slides, but we're about a 6-month-old company started by 2 co-founders who are 35-year friends, and we are focused heavily on helping people make friends, both from a positive standpoint, but also from a response to the loneliness epidemic, which is a global problem, killing about 1 million people a year, 100 an hour. And by some estimates, there's 1.4 billion people around the world that have, loneliness on a consistent basis. So it's a huge problem. The Surgeon General in the U.S. put out a report a couple of years ago. He just recently left the Trump administration and now put out a report through the World Health Organization all about the issue of social isolation, social connection, and the importance of building community. So we've gone from, television taking up a lot of our time, to living in the suburbs, to phones, to social media, to the pandemic, and our entire world is now, has kind of forgotten the joy of meeting other people, right? Getting out and doing things with other people. So next slide, I'll talk more about that. So as I mentioned, we started in December of 2024. We've launched our product. I'll show you a link later, but you can go to getconnexus.com. It's fully functional. You can use it for free for an event right now for the next month or so. So we are live and we're operating and doing a lot of business development. And we're a product that can be used globally. We're all in English today, but over the next couple of years, we'll move to several global implementations. Next slide. So as I mentioned, the problem we solve is, how do you meet people at live events? So if you've been to a conference, a cruise ship, if you've gone back to school where, there's 200 other freshmen or 5,000 other freshmen that you don't know, and any other kind of event where there's a lot of people, how do you meet people? And the answer is, most people don't. It's extremely awkward to walk up to somebody and go, hey, you look like you might be my friend, because you have no basis to do that, right? So what we try to do is match people together based on their passions, interests, travel experiences, all those types of things, by creating a privacy protected profile before or at the event that allows people to self-organize, get into a group, maybe all go for a run together, maybe all go see a particular athletic game, all get together and talk about their college alumni. So that's what we do. Go ahead, next slide. And we generate revenue. We're unlike the kind of things you see where everybody's got an app and you get it and they collect your data and they sell it to the advertisers, and suddenly you're getting all kinds of stuff in the mail and everybody knows who you are around the world. We don't do that. We're a software company. We have companies or organizations, use our software to bring to the people at their events and pay us for that. So we're not collecting data. We're not selling ads. We're not Mark Zuckerberg, any of those types of things, right? So privacy protection is very important to us. Next slide. And our value proposition is that we are a very easy to use software platform. We are not an app that you have to download and add one more or 85 more, icons to your screens. You can just use it from a QR code, from a link that we send at the event. You can save your data. And initially, our ideal client are event organizers, people that want to take an otherwise sterile or boring event and add a whole element of connectivity, community, and friendship to that event, or to make the event about friendship in total. So you might have a friendship night in your city where you get people to sign up ahead of time, they list their hobbies, they list their passions, they list their travel experiences, and they come together and can meet each other based on knowing who they who the other people are. And so that's what we do. As I mentioned, we're different because we're not an app trying to collect your data and sell it to get advertising revenue, right? That's not what we do. We're working with organizations who want to bring community connection to their own value proposition. So an event that might be able to add additional events at their conference or on their cruise ship or at their school, all those types of things are where we go. Next slide, please. So our target audience, as I mentioned, is an event organizer who wants to take an event, and it's fairly routine. I just went to one in San Antonio. There were 5,000 people there, and we were all there to talk about a certain piece of software. But the reality was, no way to know who had anything in common with me, right? So this would answer that question by giving me an idea that, oh, there are other people here that do similar things to me, right? So one of my overarching passions is fly fishing, right? I've been able to go around the world and fly fish in, probably 25 countries. And, if there were fly fishermen at that event that I knew, we'd all meet up in the bar and we'd have some very, very good common ground, right? And I'd walk away with some new friends. And that's the point of this, is when you find, especially if you have an extreme passion, whether it's for a sports team, whether it's for something else, when you meet those people, they're your people, right? It's not like, oh, let's see if we can figure out, something that we got in common. You're starting with something you both care about. So it makes the whole, process much easier. So And for people like AARP and YMCA who are holding events, every day, every point in time, being able to help people introduce themselves more, because even an event with 30 people, how many people do you really get to meet there, right? How do you know those people? So, and then from a sales channel, we're doing a lot of direct sales, business development on an OEM basis, and then we'll have a full web self-service portal at the end of this month. Next slide, please. I mentioned how it works. Here's a QR code if you want to try it. This is a test event I created for here. For an event organizer, it takes all of about 5 minutes to create an event, right? It's like, when is the event going to be? Where is it going to be? How many people am I expecting? What are the overarching parameters for it? All those kinds of things. And that gives you a QR code like this one that you can send to anybody you want, invite them to fill out a profile for that event. And then once they fill it out, they can choose to save it themselves and use it for another event if they so choose. And out of that comes all the dynamics of, okay, now we know, we have 27 pickleball players here. We've got 32 bowlers. How can we get those people together either at lunch, after the event, at the conference, in a breakout group, all those types of things. Next slide, please. So competitors, everybody's got 37 apps, very difficult to scale, very difficult to get any momentum. Most of the social stuff is not very social, right? I mean, when was the last time you made a friend on Facebook, a new friend, right? You might have some of your old ones there and those kinds of things, but it's, not many of the social medias are very helpful. We do have Bumble for Friends, which is, again, you're paying for that like a dating service. So we're different. The organizers of the events are paying for that. And so we're very easy to use from that standpoint. So next slide. And then, the other thing that we're all about is competitors and co-opetition, right? So if people out there have a lot of competition, the best thing you can do is work with your competition. So we've talked to event companies and other people that might be deemed a competitor to us, but in fact, there's usually some kind of common ground where we can work with them to find, win-win outcomes, not just for us and the competitor, but also for, the event organizers and the customers. And so that's really, really key. And I think that was the last slide, right? Yay. So what we're out doing is we're out talking to a lot of commercial companies, but we're also looking for ideas from a, civic standpoint. Our very first event was at the old Presbyterian Meeting House down in Alexandria, George Washington's church from 250 years ago. And, it was really, really interesting. And so we're out looking for, do we do things in libraries? Do we create an ambassador program where people can go out and stimulate friendship in their community? And then if people use our software, they get part of that revenue as well, with the kind of a groundswell of we're all going to make the world a happier place. So that's kind of my challenge question.
Yeah. Stay up here.
No, I'm going to get my notes. I'm sure somebody's going to tell me something I want to write down.
What's your revenue model? You were saying you're free now, but you're eventually going to charge. What is your revenue?
Oh, we'll sell organizations. So like a cruise ship might pay us $500 to use it for a cruise, so that they can connect the 3,000 people on their cruise ship together and introduce them to various people. Or a conference, right? About 5,000 person conference may pay us $1,000 to have that added to their event infrastructure.
I'm going to be your coordinator today for all the questions. So anybody in the room want to start? And then please raise your, I've got 2 hands raised online, but if there's anybody in the room that wants to start with a question, please raise your hand.
Hey, Melinda, ask them to walk over to the microphone, because otherwise we don't hear the question.
Okay. In the
Thank you.
meantime, I'm going to start with Marisa, and then I'm going to come to you, John.
Thank you for that. Really cool software. So my question is, if I'm a customer, say I'm Shy Sally, and I have a great experience at an event that used your software, is there a way for me to search just for more events like that in my area that use your software? Do you know that'll
There will be,
connect?
absolutely, yes.
But
As we
right
get
now you're
momentum.
targeting just the event planners and possibly bigger companies like the Y and AARP.
Anybody that's having an event with a lot of people. It could be a wedding, it could be probably not a funeral, probably not the greatest place for you to go make new friends. But yeah, any place where there's a lot of people and it might be worth getting people to know each other better. So we've had an incredible number of ideas come up from people.
Karen,
you.
you've got your hand raised, and John.
Karen, go first.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much for the presentation. I had a question. So you had the QR code up just a moment ago, and I went into it. And so I got into a page where it said join, and then I get into a page where I have to then do an email and a password in order to sign up. Is that accurate?
Well, you can use Google so that so you're not disclosing any of that information to us. Yes, but we do want to verify, and we send back a verification code to you so that we know you're there, right? So that you're part of the event that we're doing.
Gotcha. Okay, so my concern was, like many people, it's like, oh, I've got to create yet another password for something, especially if it was something where I'm only doing it one time at one event. And that was my concern is
The password would stay consistent across events. But the other thing we've had that we may do, and I'd love feedback on this, is literally just using your phone number. That you just say, here's my phone number, we send you a verification code, and bam, you're in, right?
thank you.
That
Yeah,
would be all you do.
thank you. Because one of my concerns is always about like barriers to entry into something. So
Yep,
but that sounds like very interesting. Thank you very much.
great point.
Okay, John.
Thank you. And Peter, that was fabulous. Really appreciate your presentation, all the thought and investment in what you're doing. What has been the initial feedback you've gotten when you've approached a large company? And
Oh, good.
no, I'll stop there.
Okay. Good feedback, interest, and a lot of people want to do pilot programs. So, very easy because with our softwares today, you could go to our website, create an event, send it out to 25 of your employees and say, hey, do we like this, right? Do we want to take this out to our customers? We've also talked to several very big companies about making friendship part of their brand, right? If you think of the one company in the world that's been about friendship for 75 years, it's Coke, right? They've been wanting to buy the world of Coke for a long time. And so there's a lot of people, and Starbucks is actually moving back to their old roots of trying to be a much more friendly place, right? Writing your name on the cup versus, having it print out on a computer. And so, there's a whole set of companies that we're talking to about the idea of friendship nights. How do you use your, use your brand and I'll pick one out of the air that I haven't talked to, which is like Hard Rock Cafe, right? They have people that go all across the world to collect the Hard Rock pins. Well, what if there was a Friends of Hard Rock club where you could be, anytime you went to a Hard Rock Cafe, you'd have people there that are like you, right? Or might know the city that you're visiting, those types of things. Lots of implications. And I want to stress, we're a 6-month-old company. We've got about a 10-year roadmap of things we could add to this, because it's even things like you're in the airport and I got a 4-hour delay. So I turn on my phone, and suddenly as I walk by somebody who also has their phone turned on, it goes, oh, that guy's a fly fisherman. You ought to go talk to him, right? And suddenly the whole world becomes again, for people that want to opt in, not like, oh, we're spamming people and blah, 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 or being intrusive. It's like, no, this is up to you, right? If you're a Formula One fan and you go crazy, you drive across town to meet another Formula One fan, you ought to be able to find them, right? So that's what we focus on is kind of the joy of people connecting over a very shared passion.
So I've got a question for you. You told me you were also working and focusing on loneliness. Can you talk a little bit about that and
Sure.
expose the group to that?
Well, we have been. So the underbelly of making friends is it mitigates loneliness, right? I mean, this is a huge problem. And one of the best things you can do, I mean, if you want to go read up about veteran suicide, right? What helps stem veteran suicide? Veterans having more friends. What helps seniors, get out of the house, having more friends. I mean, it's just it's the yin and the yang of the same problem, right? It's if I have more friends, I'm less lonely, I'm more engaged in the community, I've got a bigger support system, and it's all, it all helps to work, better all the way around.
So are you interested in finding groups that work with
Sure.
folks?
Yeah, we already are. There's a
in-
group called Foundation for Social Connection in DC, a fabulous nonprofit that has a whole scientific board, a whole set of other things. But what we become is, there's lots of people that talk about things, right? Anytime there's a big problem, people are like, we're going to talk about it, and policy and write white papers. And the thing is, at some point, you got to get tactical and do something about it. And that's what we're focused on, is a tactical tool for helping to make friends between groups of people and helping them find each other. And to us, you got, if you're going to dig a hole, you can't talk about digging a hole for 6 months, right? It's like, well, you got to make a little hole and then bigger, bigger, bigger. And that's what we're trying to do, is help start, a few friendships at a time. And, we'll be like McDonald's, where we have a thing where it's like over 5,000 friends served, right? Or new friends created.
Love it. John, you've got another question?
Yeah, I want to follow up on this. So, unless you have a business development staff that's significantly large, and perhaps you do or contemplate it, you can only go in so many directions at once. So the first thing I would eliminate is weddings. I did hear that earlier. Okay, because half the people at the wedding are already coupled and they know people already. So I want to go back to your primary market, which was a great one, event organizers, which might be event planners or it might be someone internal. And it seems to me, in order to grow the business, the user community, the quicker path is finding the first 50 event planners who utilize, or organizers, internal or third-party organizers, who start introducing your system, and maybe they get a commission. I don't know how those things work, but that's a lot easier than getting 100 groups of 50 friends.
Yep.
So the corporate route is my suggestion as in making the point.
And that's a great one. And so our very first focus and our very first partnership was with Cvent, which is the world's biggest event management system. They do about 4 to 5 million events a year, and they probably have 150,000 event planners in their, in their scope of what they do. So we are now an official partner of them. We're listed on their marketplace where people can find us. And yeah, so and that's where our focus is. We haven't talked to anybody with a wedding, but by the same token, on our website, people can show up and do their own event self-service without even telling us. So we're actually very excited about seeing where people figure this out as we spread the word more about having a friendship event.
Next, I'm going to go to Maria in the room, then Karen, and then Marissa, you had your hand up too, I noticed. Do you still have your hand up? Just so I know. Okay, great.
Okay.
So, come on in.
My question is, I do have a family member that has medical depression. And one of the things that I see her struggle and others with that kind of mental health is they have friends, they're just not going to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that if you're going to be using part of your app to target that audience, there could be some other aspects integrated into them, as in something upbeat, something that is going to give them inspiration of some sort. Like, hey, messaging might not be a bad idea to incorporate something like that. And say, hey, a check-in, even maybe. It's like, hey, we haven't seen you active in the app. to some sort of or level, here are some events that you might be able to join.
Yep.
So a combination of not just from organizers to a specific group, but also as an spontaneous, here is what other events are in the community that you might be able to benefit from, that are within a specific distance,
Right.
because they tend to not want to venture out too far away. But with the interests that they already have, kind of put those in front of their eyes as possible.
Yeah, no, we've thought about that, and I actually have dealt a lot with depression over the last 20, 30 years of different things. And so we're not a healthcare company, right? And so we don't follow HIPAA, we don't do any of the things you'd have to do for us to be a direct provider of any kind of mitigation strategies for people with depression or other things. But our software is set so that if there's a company that is a healthcare company or a psychotherapy company or a counseling company, that they can take our software and they can actually, that's one of the reasons you don't have to put in any personal information, right? It's you go to an event, it's like you don't have to tell anybody who you are, right? You fill out your profile, and then later, if you have a lunch with a bunch of people that share the same passion as you can decide who you want to introduce yourself to. So we're suddenly not collecting personal information of those people. And so we become a tool for people that are trying to help, people with depression, people with isolation, people that are totally shut in, which is a very tough problem. I mean, it's one we'd love to solve it, but the reality is, it's one that's probably above our pay grade. But if those people have friends and they go, oh, I do have a lot of friends, I'm going to create my own little online event, and I'm going to invite all my friends to tell me their travel experience, their passions, and I'm going to start circling back around to them. I'll give you an example. As I started this company, I reached out to over 250 people that I've known over the last 47 years. That was the oldest one. It was a 47 years since we last chatted. And it has been an incredible thing from getting to know, who's out there, what have they done. In one case, they had 5 kids, went to med school and retired all in the time period that we hadn't talked to each other. So just an amazing thing to spread the word about, get out there and find the people that new people, but also, don't forget your old friends, right? Because they may still be out there.
Okay. So we actually, I'm going to moderate, we have about 10 minutes for other questions.
Okay.
So we can just keep our answers shorter, so
yeah.
we can get through all your questions.
Okay. Happy to.
Karen, you're next, then Marissa, and then I've got something I want to add.
You. So I'm thinking, I love the idea about the event and having that as a piece of an event. Because if everybody's coming from out of town, then finding other people you can connect with at the event is a great idea. But I'm also thinking about if one is trying to create friendships, I think most of the time people want to create friendships where they might actually have the chance to see people live on a repeated basis. So I'm thinking about that. How can this be integrated into like localities? So that I'm finding other people with similar interests where I am, so I might actually be able to meet them in person on a regular basis. And then the other piece I would just add is I'm thinking about how could this connect with something like meetup.com and whether there would be cross purposes there. So I'll stop with that.
Yep. Well, the answer to both is, no, that's great. If you go to an event locally and most of the people are from local, it automatically makes it a kind of a geospatially oriented thing, and you'll meet people from around here. If you go to a national conference, obviously it's going to be you might have an international audience, but I wouldn't rule that either. I've got 4 or 5 friends around the world for my fly fishing efforts, and we stay in contact, we go on trips together. I mean, there's no reason not to think, even internationally in terms of some of your friends, especially if it's something you really care about.
Yeah,
Marissa.
I think it's the both ends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Marissa, you're up.
So I'm trying to understand and maybe how it can make the event planner's life easier. Because it sounds like it might get a little more complicated when they're like, oh, my room of 5,000 people, I have 17 fly fishers and 100 crocheters and this. And how do now I have to either do more events to get them together or help them find each other in a room?
No, it's a fair question. So and just like every other new thing that you might add to your event, it's a risk reward, right? It's like you could have a picture booth, and it's like, well, what do I got to do to do that? Blah blah blah. How much is it going to cost me? But the ultimate, the research we've done says that most people, there's like 1.8 million events in the U.S., and most people walk away from events going, I didn't really meet anybody meaningful, right? So these people come together and then they dissipate, and there was no, connection. So the event organizer gets the choice of, do I want to add some kind of element that might raise my NPS, which is net positivity score for my event? Does it create better retention? Do people come back? Do their overall customer satisfaction? And can I make more money because I have the information about all the people that are coming to the event and can use that ahead of time to maybe provide them an even better experience, right? So on a cruise ship, if you suddenly know ahead of time you've got 200 pickleball players and one tennis player, it seems like you ought to change the pickleball or the tennis court to a couple pickleball courts, right? And everybody's going to be happier except the one tennis guy.
So the question, or what I wanted to share, was millennials have become one of the largest groups that have issues with loneliness, and they've discovered another tactic that has really worked for them. And I think this, along with what they're doing, they're writing thank you letters. And it's like, we're in the room today and I meet Maria and I send a note to her after the meeting saying, hey, it was wonderful meeting you. She will then be connected, and there's a feeling of connection at that point. Again, that reconnects. So that may be another target audience that you want to look for, millennial groups that are having events, so that you can help them connect afterwards, and maybe even have somebody come in and talk, if it's a group and it's millennials, tell them about the sending thank you notes, because it is very, very hot in the new trends in the marketplace right now.
Yep. No, great idea. Yeah, and this is cross group. I mean, this is there's a whole book out called The Anxious Child, which is like 6-year-old kids are lonely, all the way to, seniors that are shut in, and it's like, all my friends are dead. I need some new ones, right? If I'm gonna have some.
Anybody? Oh, great. Dan, welcome. And you've got a question.
Thank you, Melinda, and thank you for the presentation. And you may have already covered this. I may have missed it, but who do you compete with? Because this strikes me as the biggest player in the market will become the 800-pound gorilla, and everywhere else will be scrapping for tidbits here and there. So, and the second question is, have you thought about associations? Because associations have conferences, and people go to conferences struggle to get in touch with each other.
Yep. So we plan on being the 800-pound gorilla, but like most things, there, even at Cvent, as the event management leader in the world with $1 billion, there's another 40 event management companies. So there's always kind of a long tail of people. But yes, we focused very heavily on associations, and both from the standpoint of them wanting to make their membership better. And if you think about alumni association, right? It's like, oh, Alabama alumni may have 75,000 members, but how often do they really get together except at a football game, right? And those kinds of things. So being able to find those people, and I mean, you talk about a fanatical passion, right? Pick your school. Those kinds of associations are also a prime target for us.
ASAE obviously is headquartered in Alexandria, and I can introduce you to people. They have a conference in December. Maybe you can be a keynote speaker or something for them. It may be too late for that, but maybe you can get a booth. Anybody else with any other questions? Well, then I guess what we can do, we're coming up on that time. How can 1 Million Cups help you today?
You guys already have. So
what other things can we do for you?
The feedback is always good. Look, keep my email. Anytime you hear about an event, feel free to either forward it to me and say, hey, you guys ought to be helping these people, or send them an email saying, hey, why don't you add friendship to your event? It'd really help make it a whole lot more fun. So, and ultimately, we're about, joy and purpose in the community of how do you make everybody, feel better about, because you could light up friends for the next 50, 60, 70 years, right? Some of the young kids, it may be, 100-year friends if all the medical technology kicks in, right? So you hang on to those people. They're very important.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Maria, I'm going to turn it back to you and I'll get the slides back up. So I'm changing roles.
Thank you, Pete, for that wonderful presentation. Your app is extremely interesting, and we wish you all the best. We're here for you. And as we get back, just presenter view. Right? Nope, sorry. My apologies. All right. So next week, we've had a reschedule. So next week's presenter opportunity is open. If you guys or you know of anybody that would benefit from presenting, please make sure to let them know and let us know. We've added a QR code directly to our application page to make it easier. You may be able to grab that link as well later on, but to start with, we can even just take a picture and you can send that to that special entrepreneur that you might be thinking of that could benefit from presenting. Our upcoming events, we have BNI, and we are linking events to the Fairfax County Economic Development, Department of the DEI, Central Fairfax Chamber, and the Western Chamber, which are local.
Maria, the links are now in the chat.
Thank you so much, John. So you might be able to, as we are coming to bringing our meeting to an end, make sure you save the chat. There's lots of information in there. And like I mentioned, next week is open and it's only virtual. Here are all our links in one place with this QR code. You could please follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and X. We are very active on LinkedIn. We would love to hear your thoughts on this presentation and any other one. Thank you, everybody. We actually ending earlier, so please feel free to stick around. Our presentation part has ended, but we can continue the conversation offline. Thank you.
Can you all please post the name of Peter's app and the website in the chat? I'm not seeing it anywhere in the chat.